Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, Bava Metzia DAF Samach Tes. We are holding on Samach Ches Amud Beis, 5 lines off the bottom of the Yomid. Says the Gemara, B'nei Rav Elish, Rav Elish's sons, Nafak Alayu, Hahushtara. One day this document appears, Davak Sivbei, which had in it the following content. It was a document depicting some sort of financial arrangement, a managerial arrangement between an investor who invested money with Rav Elish, to do business, and they had this following agreement. Palga ba'agar or palga ba'hefset, 50-50. Any profits, any losses, they split it evenly between the investor and Rav Elish, who was the sort of fund manager. And we know that's problematic based on yesterday's DAF, because what's technically happening here is like this. It's called an iska, right? Which we learned yesterday, entails part loan and part pikadon, deposit. Now, the part which is a loan belongs, totally to the borrower, right? His responsibility to look after, etc. So, of course, he deserves any profits generated by that half, by that portion of the investment, whereas the other half is a pikadon, and still considered sort of the property of the investor. So any profits garnered by that, through that portion, really belongs to the investor. The problem is that the manager is running the fund. He's doing all this effort free of charge, and essentially he's returning a favor because of the loan that he got from this fellow. So we learned yesterday the only way around that is to actually give the manager some sort of fee, some sort of salary to account for his efforts. So it turns out that this document, which describes this sort of financial arrangement, seemed to have been structured in a questionable way, because it stated within it that it was a 50-50 deal. Amar Rava, so Rava responded by saying, Rav Elish, this person Rav Elish was known as a prominent person, Gavra Rabahu, Visur Inshi, and ribis money to people, lo have a safi, he wouldn't feed, meaning he would never have undertaken this type of arrangement structured in this way, which is problematic, which would entail him giving ribis to the investor. So apparently what the document really meant to say is like this. There were 2 separate options presented in the document. Manavshach, either or, meaning Rav Elish had the option to choose one of 2 routes, each one of which would have granted him some sort of residual benefit, some sort of, a gain on the side, which would justify his efforts and eliminate any ribis concerns. If it really is 50-50, they split losses or gains evenly, that's problematic. But it was meant like this. Ipalga ba'agar. Either he can choose, either the investor can choose half of the profits, palga ba'agar, in which case, trade tilsa behefset, he has to be willing to accept 2/3 of any losses. So the fact that he's allowing the manager of Elish to minimize his risk, right, from 50% to 1/3, because the investor is taking upon himself 2/3 of the possible downturn, that in itself is a gain. He's essentially paying off the manager for his efforts by diminishing his risk. That's one option. The other option is ipalga behefset. If Rav Elish is committing to half the losses, he's willing to accept responsibility on half. Okay, it comes with an upside, and he has to get more than 50% of eventual gains. Trade tilsi ba'agar, 2/3 of any profits. That's what the document meant to say. It never meant to say 50-50. It's not an even split. Either this option, which has a downside plus an upside, or the other option, which also gives them an upside. And therefore it's mutter. And that upside, that added value, is deemed compensation for his efforts, which eliminates any ribbis concerns. Amar Rav Kahana, Amrita l'shmata k'mei Rav Zvid min Hardo. I presented this whole explanation to Rav Zvid, and he responded, we don't have to go that far. Perhaps the shtar meant exactly what it said. It was 50-50, even down the road. What happened to ribbis? Where is his payment for his effort? Well, Dilma Rav Ilish, maybe he got some sort of minuscule benefit from the investor. He dipped with him in his tzir, he ate lunch with him. And we know that's enough to alleviate any ribbis concerns. As Rav Nachman told us yesterday, we pass like Rabbi Yehuda. Any sort of symbolic payment is enough. V'amar Rav Nachman halach Rabbi Yehuda. He says no. Rav Yehuda never meant to paskin like that. We don't adopt that opinion. You have to be properly paid. Ela shita itma. Rav Yehuda was just sort of lining up opinions which hold like each other. That's why Rav Nachman mentioned Rabbi Yehuda. He mentioned Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. All three apply this minimum wage concept in different ways. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who requires the least payment. Even just a little sharing a little lunch is considered payment. So he was just sort of lining up the shittas. We have three shittas which sort of are on the same wavelength. But that's not how we pass. We need a proper salary to alleviate ribbis. It seems, in fact, that this is the correct approach. Because otherwise, if Rabbi Nachman was really paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, why does he have to go through all the shittas? We paskin like him. He should just cite the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who has the lowest requirement. Lema halach Rabbi Yehuda, the Mekel Bakulu, who's the most lenient of all. Why does he have to go through all the names? Apparently, he was just trying to list them as one. But in terms of actually applying halacha l'maisa, we hold you need a proper salary. Amarav moiser shlish b'scharcha. Let's say the investor tells the farmer, look, you're going to look after my calves, you're going to raise it, right? We're going to split the profits. And guess what? I'm going to pay you as follows. Anything above 30%, right? Let's say you improve on this animal, it's now worth 100. Anything past 133, it's a third more. Right? Anything until that point, we split evenly. But anything past that point, if you take it that far, you keep it. B'scharcha, that's your payment. Then you can do that. That's considered payment, even though it may never come to that point. Fact is, he's offering him an incentive to look after the cow. U'shmol amar no. That's hypothetical. Suppose he never gets to that point of passing the third threshold. So he goes home empty-handed. That's not called payment. That's not realistic. Elamar Shmuel, the proper way is koitis dinar. He has to promise him a dinar as salary. V'sava Rav ain't koitis dinar. Rav doesn't require this dinar salary. This absolute payment. The V'amar Rav told us you do have to give him something definite. Reish egla, the head of the calf lepatuma, for the fellow who's fattening it and raising it. Apparently you have to give him something definitive. My lab apparently was speaking. The Amarle Moiser Shlish B'scharcha. Even when he promised him anything past the third, you still have to give him something absolute. Apparently it's not enough. No, we're speaking that he gave him a choice, either or. Either you get anything past the third, either that, nothing else, or the head of the calf. Another way to learn. Typically you have to give him something absolute, but when Rav allows, promising him, more than the third, we're speaking that the fellow who's raising the animal has his own, animals, which he has to care for anyway, so it's not such a major bother. It doesn't take much effort to throw in another, animal, so you don't really have to pay him a proper salary. The Amr Inshi, as people say, Gava Latura, mix the animal feed for one cow, for one ox, Gava Lature, or for many, it's pretty much all the same effort. Rabbi Elazar ben Grunya had a story as follows. Zavan behem, he purchased an animal, so he handed it to his oris, his sharecropper, his helper, to fatten it, to develop it. And he gave him the head. He promised him he'll take the head home. So it was a 50-50 deal, right? but he had to give him an extra, bonus for his efforts as a salary, as we're discussing all along. What was that? The head. And they split, otherwise, he gave him half the profit. Fine. So this Urus's wife tells him, you know what? Now it's Rabbi Elish's animal. It's Rabbi Lezer ben Grunia's animal. Look what he's giving you. Imagine if you would actually partner with him. You would actually invest your own money. Right? Half the investment would be yours. Certainly he'll give you more. He'll certainly give you the tail as well as a gift. Okay, he figured, let me up the deal. Next time, the Urus partnered in the actual purchase. He gave him, he bought the thing together with him. Okay, come time to split the deal, right? To sell the animal and to shecht it and to split it up. He gave him the tail. Basically, no, he gave him half the tail. Polygly. Me'al Yosa. Gave him half. Amar Le. So, Rabbi Lezer continues and says, okay, when we get to the head, we'll split it as well. Let's split the head as well. Right? It's a 50-50 deal. We're both investors here, right? Amalei, so the fellow says to him, what do you mean? Now that I actually invested my money into this deal, I should get less than before. Initially, when it was your investment, and I was just raising the animal, you gave me the head for free. Now that I'm an actual investor, I get less? Let me at least get the head like I got last time. Amalei says, don't you make a mistake. Last time I owed you something because you're looking after my portion, and that creates a ribis concern, so we have to actually, compensate you for that. But today, we're partners. Right? There's no ribis issue. I'm not lending you money. Until today, until now, Zuzi Didihav was my money invested. If I wouldn't give you a little bit extra than you deserve, ribis looks like ribis because you're looking after my part, which is a mulva. You're looking after my portion because I loaned you money, right? As we explained. But now we're straight out partners. So we split it equally, 50-50. My karmas. So what would you say? The problem is you can claim that you put in that extra effort. I mean, the expenses we both shared, but the fact is, you're looking after my animal as my part as well. Well, you know what people say. It's a package deal. Amri Inshi, Stamarisa, typically an Uris, right? A sharecropper, he serves his master, he serves his boss. Lamari, right? He commits himself to the landowner, to bring him a feed for his animals, basically to help him out. So basically, you're just doing whatever you're doing as part of the day's work, and therefore I don't owe you anything past your portion of the profits. Tana Rabbana, we learned in a brisa. Sham behim al chavir. So once again, Shuma means to assess. So we determine, the value of the animal which I am entrusting you with. So I'm giving you the animal to raise, and basically, you're responsible, partially. Half of it is a milva, half is a pikadon, as we're discussing all along. So you undertook to care for my animals, to develop them. Until what point? How long does this fellow have to keep these animals? Okay, Sumchus Omer, there is a set time where you have to just keep on raising that animal. Ba'asoinois, when it comes to these mules, shmoinos or chodesh, 18 months. So up until that point, he must raise them, and at that point, he's allowed to give it back to the owner. So it's understood that you're keeping them until this point of their development. The goyd race, when it comes to other light animals, sheep, goats, it's a minimum of 24 months. Suppose the farmer decides to, the animal raiser decides to come back and dissolve this agreement, dissolve this sort of partnership within this prescribed period, he can't do so without permission. So the owner can object. But you should know, there's no comparison. You can't compare tipula shoshana zu with tipula shoshana acheres. You can't compare the care required during this first year of the animal's life to the care required during the second year, which is certainly more costly, where the animal eats more and his expenses are higher. What does that mean? But there's no comparison. Aval Maika Omar, if anything, that is more reason why the owner can object, because look, you're letting go at the most difficult time. Ella, rather, Lefi, the Bryce meant to give a reason. For this very reason, you can't just walk away mid-route. Because the first year you had it easy, relatively easy. So you can't compare first year to the next year. So when the going gets tough, you have to hang on until you're done. Tani Idach, we have another Bryce. Until what point does the fellow have to keep on raising the offspring, right? Which is also part of this arrangement. Until what point? If it's a light animal, until 30 days, after which he gives the vlades back to the, they split it, right? So the vlades are also included in this deal, this 50-50 deal. So until 30 days, he's got to keep it, and then afterwards, he can go back to the owner and dissolve it and split it. When it comes to a large, heavy animal, 50 days from birth. When it comes to a light animal, you have to hold on to it for 3 months. You're the expert. You know how to look after these animals. It's difficult to look after these animals. What does that mean? It has weak teeth and needs special care. So you can't just dump it back on the owner. He's entitled to compel the animal raiser to hold on to it for a while. Past which, right? So once you hit this threshold, you can't, the fellow is not obligated to keep these offspring. Rather, he can choose to continue, but then he can do as follows. So half the animal is his, right, so to speak. The other half, which belongs to the investor, so he can sort of take half of any future, improvement, any future increase in value on that part as well. So he's entitled to get 50% of the other fellow's 50% going forward. So he had a story where he was makabel a behema, right? And he was raising it, and the deal was they get 50% of the profits of the actual, gain in the original animal and of the offspring. And the animal gave birth, and he continued raising it past this prescribed period, which entitled them to 50% of the other fellow's portion as well, and that's what he did. Okay, come time to split, he split it all up. Also, who gave you the authority? Who assessed this? You didn't take it to an official appraiser. Who says you have a right to determine value on your own, single-handedly? Additionally, right? You're in a place where the accepted custom is to raise the offspring until they grow big and mature. You can't just with Tanan we have a Mishnah Makam Shenagu Legadol. If you're in such a place, you have to raise it until the end, until it grows big. We have another story involving two people, kusim. Right, kusayim are these sort of cult. These people whose conversion was questionable. Hanu tre kusay. There were two people belonging to this group. The avud iska b'de'adodi. They made this iska, right, with each other. This financial arrangement. This investment, which was structured in the iska fashion. So come one day, they so they invested money, and he turned around and he split the money without informing his friend. Also, so they come to Rav Papa, Amr Lei, and he tells the complainer, "What do you care? My nafkamina. What do you care?" Amr Hachim Rav Nachman tells us, money is money. You don't need to appraise it or assess it. Zuzi, when you have money actual cash, Kiman de Pligidamu. It's like it's divided and split. So basically, any one of these partners is entitled to dissolve the partnership, take his half and walk away. You don't need to make an official, arrangement to split it apart. L'shana, come next year, these two business associates partnered again. This time they purchased wine. Zavun chamr b'de'adadi, and again along the lines of this iska arrangement to split the profits, etc. Come idach. So now the other fellow. So year number 1, Shimon split the deal. Reuben complained. Rav Papa sort of toned them down, right? Next year, Reuven was the one who unilaterally split the, divided the merchandise, the wine, without informing his colleague. So once again, they come running to Rav Papa, Asal Kamed Rav Papa. Now it was Shimon complaining about Reuven. So Rav Papa turns to Reuven, who gave you a right? Man palag l'cha. Under which authority did you make this split? I mean, you have to go and assess it and appraise it and confirm true value. So this Reuven responds to Rav Papa, I see you're always siding with my partner. Last year you said, no problem dividing. This year you're saying there's a problem because it's all to my detriment, right? I see that Mar, the Rav here is always siding with the day, my other, my partner here. How come I'm always in the wrong? Rav Papa says, look, I see I have to explain myself to avoid any impression of unfairness. Kaigana. In this type of case, Vade certainly tzorach lo'idui. I have to explain to him. There's a pasuk which says V'yisem nikiyim Hashem Yisrael. You have to, cleanse yourself. You have to keep the air clear. So let me explain to you. Sit down. Let me explain to you. Last year, what did he divide? What did he split? Money. Money is dividable. Zuzi, right? When it comes to the money, mishachol tavi v'shavik chaseri. Did he then take the good quality coins and leave you the rubbed out coin? No. Amar Leiloi says, okay, that explains it. That's why last year he was right. But this year you split what? Merchandise, wine. Wine is given to fluctuation in value, different types of qualities. Chamro, kuli amu yadi. Everybody knows. You could basim. There's high quality wine. You could lay basim. There's poor quality wine. So until you go and have it officially appraised and assessed, you have no right to go single-handedly determine value and divide split the wine up. You have to have it sanctioned by a recognized authority. Gufa Amar Rav Nachman. Let's go back to Rav Nachman, who just told us Zuzi Kiman de Pligi Dummy. Money is a dividable commodity, and there's no issue with doing so. Hani mili tavi. That's only when he made a fair division. He took, quality coins and left his partner with, a cache of quality, usable coins. Over l'seicha, right? Tukuli. Sometimes you have, a type of currency which isn't so, commonly used, which isn't considered hot currency, but it has proper weight. It's not rubbed out. It's desirable due to its content, right? The proper coin. So tkuli. He took proper coins. He left improper coins. So it was an even fair deal. But let's say he took the more commonly used coins, right? He chose those, and he left his friend, less popular coins, but they're properly weighted. So, you need proper consent. You need mutual consent for that. You can't just, take the bull by the horns and, get into the driver's seat and take off. Well, you can't do that without permission. Rav Chama have a meiger zuzi b'pshita. Rav Chama had a novel way of lending money and earning interest. He would rent his money. Meiger zuzi would rent his money and charge a pshita, a coin per day. Figuring it wasn't ribbis, I'm renting it. Kolu zuzi de Rav Chama. He lost his fortune because he violated the issue of ribbis. What happened? Who suffered? He thought, my shlami maro. Why is this different than renting a shovel? For which you can charge. I'm renting my money. Loy, it's incorrect. Big difference. Mara, a tool, hadrabeina. the renter gives it back as is. He's not legally responsible for an accident that happens with it still belongs to the owner. He's renting. He's getting usage rights. In addition, the wear and tear is pretty noticeable, which justifies the rental payment. As opposed to coins, Zuzi, you don't return the actual coin, you spend it. You're fully responsible for that coin. It's a totally different type of arrangement. In addition, there's no noticeable damage to the coins. I mean, you're borrowing 100, you back 100. So here, the money that you're paying as a fee is considered ribis and is asr. Here comes some sort of financial arrangement, some sort of incentive payments, which are eerily, similar to ribis, but not so. They're mutter. For instance, it is permissible for Ruvain to approach Shimon with money. Here, take $4. Do me a favor, lend my friend Levi some money. Is that okay? That's fine. Why? The only time the Torah forbids ribis payment is if it's coming directly from ribis haba mi Levi lamala, from the borrower to the lender, from Levi to Shimon. But if Ruvain, who's a random person, so to speak, he's not really part of this arrangement, is offering Shimon incentive to lend Levi money, that's okay. Even though Shimon is gaining on the deal, but Levi didn't spend this money. It's not a ribis payment. Furthermore, says Rava, Ruvain can approach Shimon and tell him like this: here, take $4, and please tell Levi to lend me money. It's okay. My time, why? Shimon is just taking a fee for advising Levi to lend Ruvain money. That's not ribis. Despite the fact that the borrower is losing money because it's being directed at the advisor. It's being given to a consultant. It's not payment from Levi to Mav. Kiha, as we find in the following story, the Abba, that was his name, Abba Mar, who was a son of Rapapa, brother Rapapa, Havashakal Oigna, the Kir Mikirai. He was accustomed to taking this bonus gift, blocks of wax, Ugna de Kira, round blocks of wax, Mikirai, from the wax dealers. And this was meant as sort of a payment coming from them to him, in order to tell his father to lend them money. So he was sort of the middleman, getting paid to ask his father to lend them money. Rabban told Rapapa, Rabisa, your son is getting ribis payments. He's getting paid on account of a loan. Amalu, he says, no problem. Kolkia ribusa. Any type of, this type of sort of ribis payment, neichel, he can take it, no problem. The only time it's asr is if it's a payment from haba milayva to the matlamalva. Here it's totally different. It's a service fee being paid to a middleman to arrange a loan. Schar amira koshakli. He's taking schar amira. It's fine. V'shari, it's fine. Says the Mishnah. Although, whenever we structure a iska arrangement, right, we have to provide some sort of payment to the caretaker, to the manager, to the fund manager, on account of his efforts. But there are some exceptions to that rule. For instance, if the animal that he's looking after is producing something, which he is keeping, that is in lieu of payment. Shaman para v'chamar. We can do the shuma, right? The assessment, investment, iska type of arrangement. If it's a para v'chamar v'chodavar, and any such type of animal, shu oisa, which produces, which the manager can put to work and gain from it. V'oichel, despite the fact that he's consuming and eating, but the fact is the manager is gaining on the deal. That's considered his payment. L'mechza, and proceed with this, 50-50 arrangement, that's okay, because he's getting that as payment. What about the offspring? Does he have to hold on to them? Well, it depends where you live. In a place where the minig was to split them right away, after the minimal 30-day period there, Chalkin, so they proceed and split it at that point. Mokib shenogel gadol, but if you live in a place where you're meant to raise them, yagdil, you have to do so. We can do an iska when you have the mother cow, which produces, right? You can actually add the egel, the calf as well, even though it's not really a producing entity, because it goes along with the mother. Once he's looking after the mother, the child comes along with it. It doesn't involve much more effort. So you don't have to pay him separately for that. The young donkey with his mother, that's okay. Here comes a new halacha. Suppose a person sort of leases a field, conditional upon providing the owner of the field with a set amount of wheat every year. Whether or not the field produces it, I'm promising to give you 100 bushels of wheat. That's called a chaycher. That's allowed. I can add to that. I can increase. I can expand on that because you're lending me money to improve on the field. So Shimon leased Reuven's field. X amount bushels a year he's going to provide to Reuven. But now when Shimon comes to developing the field, he's short. He needs money to improve the field, to fertilize. So he tells Reuven, look, lend me some money. That's a loan. But because you're enabling me to improve on this field, I'm now going to increase my yearly commitment. Instead of 100 bushels, 200 bushels. There's no concern. No concern of ribbis. Although it's sort of connected to the loan, but the fact is, the reason why he's increasing his commitment is because he now has a better field to work with, which produces more. So it's par for the course. It's a proper arrangement. It's not called ribbis. Tanur Rabban, mafres also day when choshish. Ribbis, right? There's no issue of ribbis. Keita, for instance, so he rents, so to speak, the field from Reuven, promising him 10 kur of chitim per year. He says, look, I need some money to renovate the field. I'm broke. Could you lend me 200 zuz to look after the field, to improve it, and I'll return the 200 zuz to you later on, but in the meantime, I'll also increase my annual commitment. I'll provide you with 12 kur a year. Instead of 10 mutter, that's okay. It's not considered a fee on account of that loan. He's leasing a better field, which produces more, which deserves a higher return, a higher commitment. But he can't do the same thing with a store, or with a ship, because, if you rented the store or the sfina, he can't increase the rental fee due to the loan that he's getting. Sometimes it works. If the loan was meant to be reinvested in the store and the ship and to increase its value, increase its profit potential, so then you've pretty much rented a better product, which justifies a higher commitment, right? Sometimes you can increase your commitment regarding the store as well. Lots of batsura. If the money was taken to, add some tsuras, some nice designs, to make it more pleasing and inviting to customers. Or when it comes to the sfina by the ship, lasasla, iskarya. He's going to use the money to make this mast, to improve on its equipment and its functionality. So why does that justify a higher rate? Chanos, for instance, when it comes to the store, lots of butsurasa, so this enhanced interior designing, the tzavaba inshi attracts more customers, which produces more profit. Same thing with the sfina, lasla iskarya. Given the shapir iskarya, since it has better equipment now, tafi agrat is going to add to the profit potential of this ship. So it makes sense. That's not called ribbis. Okay, on the topic of a sfinta, of a ship, so you rent a ship, Amarav agra, you're meant to pay the rent, upagra, and also, if there's any damage, right? If the ship breaks down or whatever, the renter is responsible. So you can make double. You can make rent, and you can also ask for any compensation if there's any loss involved. Rav Kana or Rav Asi l'Rav. So Rav Kana or Rav Asi asked Rav. I mean, either or. Either I'm renting, in which case I'm not responsible if the ship breaks down, or I'm accepting upon myself a full commitment to look after the ship. So there's a shuma, they assessed it, okay, it's worth $1 million, I'm committing to that $1 million. So essentially it's like a loan. It's in my care. It's under my responsibility. So any payment issued in return is like ribbis. How can you have it both ways? How can you charge me rent and still have me fully responsible? Either it's yours or it's mine. If it's rent, like pagra, so I can't be responsible for losses. If I'm paying for losses, like agra, it shouldn't be taking rent. Shasuk Rav was stumped, he remained silent. Rav Sheshes, my time is Shasuk Rav. Why did Rav remain silent? He could have answered like this. He hasn't heard the brisa, which says, although we know that you have to be careful when you do these, when you structure these iskas, right? To avoid ribbis. A sheep, which are like iron, meaning a fellow is committing to its actual value. Right? I'm accepting upon myself, I'm raising your animals, and I'm going to pay you for any losses. You can't do that, Mi Yisrael, from a Yid. Because when I give you 50% of the profit, there's a ribbis issue, like we explained up until now. You can do it with a guy. Okay, Aval Amru. However, Chachamim added, Hashampar l'chaveri. That's a person. Does shuma on a para. Okay, so the animal owner gave the para to his friend to look after. And he says, look, the animal raiser, farmer, tells the owner, look, I'm accepting upon myself. I'm committing myself to a 30 dinar commitment. If I don't return the animal to you, right, I'll pay you 30 dinar. And, I'll give you a selah per month as far as I use this, as long as I use the animal. So he's basically renting, but he's also committing to compensate for any losses. If he doesn't return the animal, that's okay, mutter. You know why? Because he was merely renting, but he was also guaranteeing the item. Look, if I don't return it at the end of the day, I'll pay you for it. I wasn't accepting upon myself any loss of, let's say, it drops in value or whatever. It's still yours. I'm not responsible. I'm just responsible. I don't repay it. Right? Well, if you should also dumb him, he did not accept upon himself responsibility for the actual value of the animal. What do you mean? He didn't do that? He did do that. No, we mean like this. It's not like he said, look, if it drops in value, I'm responsible. He didn't do that. The concept of damim, of the value, was not during the lifetime of the animal. While it's alive and well, it's yours, the owner's. I'm just renting it. Only after death. If I don't return it to you safely, then I'm responsible. That's not a loan, I'm renting it, with an added clause that I'm responsible for any consequences. Okay, so knowing this, Papa, Sfina Agro Pagra, when you rent a boat, you can pay the rent plus the loss. If in fact you don't successfully return it, in fact the ship owners practiced this method. They charged both Agra b'shas Mashicha, right? As soon as the fellow takes possession, he pays the rent. Pagra b'shas Shvira. In terms of the Pagra payment, that's only if it breaks and is not returned intact. And that was the minig. Atu b'minhag talim Musa. What do you mean? It's a minig? Is it ribbis or not? What do you mean? They had a minig. How do we allow it? Says the Gemara the Masnisa Tanya Minhaga, because we had the Brisa, Masnisa Tanya, we just had a Brisa that allows it. So that's why they proceeded with this Minhaga, which was sanctioned by the Brisa. So once again, we covered the sugya of Iska, an investment which typically generates, either a profit or a loss, which is split equally. However, the manager has to get some sort of fee to justify his work, his effort. We had all kinds of variations. How much you have to pay. some cases you don't even have to pay if he's already working, looking after his own animals, and this is just, right? We discussed how long he has to hold on to the animals. What about the offspring? We spoke about all types of fees to arrange loans, which are mutter. We discussed a fellow who leases property, a ship or a store, when he's allowed to increase on that commitment based on the increase in the value of the item and its potential, profit generating abilities. And we discussed about the halach of renting the ship, paying the rental as well as the pagra b'shas shivira. All the best to you and atzlacha.